Hey y'all, my name is Sage and I am challenging myself to do a brand new art style. And what art style is that? You guessed it, it is Cyberpunk! And you may be like, oh my god, wait, Sage, you don't do that, you do these. My skulls! I'm a firm believer in trying to challenge yourself artistically, and so that's what I'm gonna do this week. I'm gonna try and learn a whole new art style, and I'm gonna tell you some facts. Because you may be like, oh my god, what is cyberpunk? I'm here to tell you, ooh, it's a subgenre of sci-fi. Ooh, exciting, fun, funky, fresh, and basically in this dystopian world, capitalism and technology get together and decide to absolutely annihilate everything. Every will to live, gone. But they're cyborgs. Ooh, that's kind of exciting. It's also characterized by heavy landscape scenery with fuchsias and blues and teals, just all neon colors. Very retro, very good vibes, except for like the whole dystopian part, you know? And it also combines the 90s goth aesthetics, which I love. Yay. And also with military gear and, you know, uniforms. They also very heavily on that, and also it's very influenced by the dark noir films of, get this, the 1940s. That's crazy, man. But you may be like, oh my god, wait, Sage, have you drawn a person before? Get this, I have. Here are some my enemies over the past year or so. So now we know that we can do colorful skulls, that we know a little bit about cyberpunk, and that we've drawn people before. Let's get into it. Here are the brushes that I used, and I'm thorough, so pause if you want to. And these are the dimensions of my art piece. Pause again if you want to, I'm very thorough. And lastly, these are my references, and I found them on Google, yay! Oh, by the way, this is all done on Procreate. The entirety of the speed paint is all done on Procreate. And just wanted to let y'all know that. Boop. And so we start off with kind of like an orangey tone for the skin tone. And the reason why I did that was because when you go on the color wheel, you go directly across and then bam, complementary color. And what you want to do to make your literally any type of art pop is you want to put the undercolor, so the base color, you want it to be the complementary color of whatever color that you want to be the most vibrant. Whichever color that you want to really pop on the page, put the exact opposite color down and watch magic happen. And I also do this for the background too. As you can see on like the blue side that I'm gonna have eventually, it's gonna pop up soon, I put a really ugly, just dingy orange color, and it's because they are on opposite sides of the wheel, and when they're on opposite sides of the wheel, they are complementary colors, hence they make each other pop. And I do the same for the magenta side, except I use a really ugly green. There's obviously very beautiful greens and very beautiful oranges, but I used the really like kind of like the tones were very muted, and I wanted them to be very muted because I didn't want them like to show through too much, in the sense where it would overpower what I need for like the neon effect. And that's why I do that. And like any artist, I was struggling with the second eye. And you may be like, but you draw so many people, you've done so much like anatomy work before. That's still, you know, sometimes you think you get something right and then you don't, and you're like, how do eyelashes work? That's one thing I struggle with, is eyelashes, as you will clearly see. And even though I have like an outline for my picture, it still doesn't matter, because for me personally, having like an outline, like a sketch, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna look good once it's colored. At least that's like for me personally. So you'll see me just going in there changing more and more stuff, and same with the hair. The hair obviously gets very changed as well, and same with the facial shape as well. And that is why it's just because when I see a sketch, I'm like, oh my god, this actually looks like pretty decent, get a me, and then I color it in and I'm like, oh, who is that? What is that? You know? And the reason why I decided to go with the red hair is because I think it would look best because of kind of like the tealy color, so kind of like green and like just more cooler colors coming from over here compared to like over here where it's like more like magenta, like hot pinks. I just thought it would look the best, like balancing both. One thing about me, because I like to try and draw hair, but it's one of the things I have basically no time for. It's one of the things where it's like, you know, you try your best, and if it looks decent, we are going to leave it. Hair is one of the things where I'm just like, nah, like I like to render like skin tone way more than I like to mess around with the little hairs and make them all like perfect and whatnot. So, and I also decided to go kind of like with like, I was hoping more of like a cyberpunky hairstyle, because I know like anything like cyberpunky is also extremely like insane, you know, like no one's gonna be out there just with insane haircuts. And if you are, I applaud you, 10 out of 10, live your life. But that's just, I have curly hair, and the straight hair, just I can't do those fun funky hairstyles, because I just, even in real life, do I have time for my hair? Yeah, I wet it and do curly hair stuff, but like I don't want to straighten it. But that's completely off topic. Ooh, and I also want to touch on, this is my first time ever using the brush Signet. I just chose it because I was like, this sounds kind of like sci-fi, like I've never used it before. And then I ended up using it for her kind of like bodysuit going on, as well as the entirety of the helmet and the wires. I found it gave it like a really nice texture. And I also wanted to mention that. And in this upcoming part, I do draw a hand off screen that will be on screen soon, and the reason why I do that is because I only have 11 layers within this canvas because of how big it is. 500 DPI and 14 by 11 inches will do that to you. And this is where I decide to add in a hand, and this hand is based off of my own hand. And the reason why I decided to add in this hand is because, one, I mean, it was looking a little bit boring with just like her like standing there, but also I wanted it to be extremely clear that it's not AI, that a human made this, because humans can draw hands, robots can't. I've seen them, they are crazy. So I wanted it to also be like driven home that this was in fact not done by a computer. This is done by a person, and that person is me. And I wanted that to be very clear, because this hand, I'm very proud of this hand. I was like, oh my god, get it, me, you know, damn. And to make it more techy, you know what I'm saying, I also added like some like circles on like this part of her hand. I also wanted to look like this part of her hand is glowing. I don't know her life or anything like that, but I just wanted it to be like, ooh, what is that? Why is it glowing? Is she gonna like kill you? Or is she gonna be like, oh my god, let me save you? You know, like I don't know her life. I'm just aware that I colored and drew her. So I'm excited, and I just really liked the little details that I put on her hand. Wanted to draw attention to it. And one of the things that I really like about this art style is because I also do it while I color in my skulls, is I like really, really intense lighting. You know what I'm saying? And she has like really intense lighting coming in on like both sides. So I just found it very just exciting to not only color that in, but also figure out like where everything should be and how I think it would look like. Because I find it so interesting doing like very like cinematic lighting. It's so exciting. I really enjoy doing it. And one of the best ways that I found like to get like better at it is, one, references. References, 10 out of 10. Can never have enough references. I actually had very few references considering like how detailed I made this. But because usually I could just Google like for days, you know what I'm saying? But one of the things that I found really good for this type of like cinematic lighting is not just references, but also understanding the shape that you're coloring in. One of the best pieces of art advice that I was given as well is, so let's say we have a skull, right? Hubert, yay, he's making an appearance. So let's say if you draw like a skull this way, right? So let's say if you have a reference of a skull looking like this, try and draw him from a different perspective without looking at a reference, to just kind of think to yourself like, how would everything go? how would everything look, and then look at a reference and see like if you made any like mistakes or anything. Because if you can understand what you're drawing, not just from like looking at a picture, but from knowing what it looks like in like 3D in your head, it also really helps with lighting as well. And then this part of the speed paint, I was running out of creativity in the sense where I was like, what else can I put on her helmet? Because I know I want it to look super cool and like intense. Like I have like the wires poking in and out. I have like battery packs on it, kind of. I don't know what they are. I'm not a techie person. I just know what things look like. You know what I'm saying? And I could not for the life of me figure out what else I wanted to put, not only in like kind of like this area, but also like what I wanted to do was kind of like her headphone kind of like situation type of thing going on. No clue. That's gonna take me a while before I decide what I wanted. But one thing that I did decide on was, I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, as you can tell, like, I like chains, you know what I'm saying? So, and I also really love crescent moons. So I decided to add that on part of the helmet, to have that all dangling, and then also add some neon lights to it, because that's techie, you know what I'm saying? I just really like how that looks, but I also needed to have like that like cyberpunk feel, hence the neon lights. And then as you saw, I went from tic-tac-toe, because I was like, what if I put tic-tac-toe on her helmet? And then I was like, no, that's dumb, and then I got rid of it, as you saw. And then I decided to, I think at this point at least, I'm gonna add like some coils to her helmet. And then I was like, I don't like that either. I was like racking my brain, and then I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna blend it out. And I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. It kind of looks like a battery. And I was like, a battery? That's techie, because you know, batteries, technology. And as you can tell, I don't really know a whole lot about, you know, wires and stuff, but I know it looks cool. So I decided to add in like 2 batteries at like the top, like right here, to also give it like a cyberpunky feel. But one thing that I really just absolutely love about Cyberpunk as well is how like goth it can be too, because I feel like that's what saved me. Because I obviously really like the gothic art style, you know, like with all the skulls and stuff. But yeah, I just really wanted to mention that, because in case you were like, what's going on here, girl? And one thing that I really want to mention is, because it really did transform everything, was when I used the airbrush on top of like the neon lights that are like all over, like, you know, like the helmet, like right here, like on like her cheeks and like whatnot, and like on like the chain. If you go over those areas with the soft airbrush, and then also blend it out with the soft airbrush, but have it like not intense or anything, but it's gonna give it like a hue, like glow, and it really does just bring everything together. And I really wanted to mention that, because that was also a game changer. And that's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will be back next week with a whole new art piece and a speed paint and some commentary. If you like this video, that would be great, and subscribe if you want to, and I will be back next week. Bye bye!